Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Dr. Mangesh Tushi and this is the first video of IR spectroscopy, that is introduction to the principles of IR spectroscopy. Friends, in last video we have seen UV visible spectroscopy. So UV visible spectroscopy, in that case electronic excitations of the electrons, which happens due to absorption of the radiation energy, and that gives us information about which are the chromophores present into the molecules. So in this way, UV and visible spectrum gives us information about the which are the chromophores present into the molecule. How many double bonds are there? How many conjugations are there? Which are the absorbing functional groups are there? About that, we are getting the information in case of UV visible radiation spectroscopy. But that not gives the complete information, because if there are no double bonds, if there are no chromophores present into the molecules, so this spectroscopy is unable to give us information of the molecule, to give us proper structure of the molecule. Even the same chromophores are there and so many molecules may be possible. So this is not a complete elucidation of the molecule. For that purpose, we will go for the next spectroscopy, that is IR spectroscopy. So the IR spectrum of the molecule compound good, which deals of the information about the functional group present into the molecules. So in IR spectroscopy, we are getting the information of the functional group which are present into the molecule. That may be one functional group or multiple functional group. We can calculate all the functional group present into the molecules by using IR spectroscopy. The spectrum can be obtained within 3 to 7 minutes and required 4 to 5 mg of sample. This is very easy and simpler spectroscopy. The instrument is also very simple. In UV visible spectroscopy, which are the radiations used, those radiations are 200 to 800 nanometer. The wavelength is 200 to 800 nanometers. So these radiations are very energetic, and because of that one, these radiations brings about excitations in the electronic energy levels of the molecule. While in IR radiations, the wavelength is around 800 to 10 raised to 5 nanometer. So which have a longer wavelength as compared to the UV visible radiations. So these longer wavelengths are capable of both affecting the vibrational as well as rotational energy levels of the molecules. So IR radiations affects the vibrational as well as rotational energy levels of the molecules. So molecules, their vibrational level will get changed or rotational levels will get changed. Learn the division of IR, the whole IR region subdivided into 3 parts according to the wavelength. The near IR, that is 0.8 to 2.5 micron in wave number, that is 1 upon lambda, 12,500 to 4,000 centimeter inverse. Then IR ordinary, so that ranges from 2.5 to 16 micrometer, that is 4,000 to 625 centimeter inverse. So this is the main region, that is IR ordinary. This is again classified into 3 parts according to which type of information we are getting from that spectrum. So this is classified into 3 classes. That is, first one is functional group region. So 2.5 to 7.7 micrometer, that is 4,000 to 1,300 centimeter inverse. So in this area, almost all the functional group of the molecules absorbs the radiations. Then the fingerprint region, that is 7.7 to 11 micron, that is 1300 to 909 centimeter inverse. So in this case, this is the fingerprint regions. All the skeleton bonds like sigma bonds absorbs in this region. Carbon carbon double single bond, carbon nitrogen single bond, carbon oxygen single bond. So all the single bonds, that is the main skeleton of the organic molecules, that absorbs in this region. This is not useful that much because almost all the molecules absorbing in this region. This is useful for comparing the molecule. If the two molecules having the same spectrum in this fingerprint region, then you conclude that both molecules are same. Compare the two fingerprint spectrum of the molecules, and if they are matches, both compounds are same. If not, both compounds are different. Likewise. Then aromatic region, that is 11 to 16 micrometer, that is 909 to 625 centimeter. So in this region, the bending vibrations of the aromatic rings absorbs the radiations from IR radiation. Then third one is the far IR, that is 16 to 200 micron, that is 625 to 50 centimeter. So this is the classification of the IR spectrum. And the main regions, that is IR ordinary, this is the main region we are scanning, and this is giving us information about the molecule, the functional groups which are present into the substance. Friends, the region between 2.5 micron to 16 micrometer, that is 4000 to 625 centimeter, is very useful from the point of view of organic chemist, because most of the fundamental vibrations of the molecules occur in this region. So what are the fundamental modes of vibrations, fundamental vibrations which are occurring to the molecules that absorbs in this region between 4000 to 625 centimeter inverse? The common functional group shows absorption band in the region, that is 2.7 to 7.7 micrometer, that is 4000 to 1300 centimeter inverse. So this region is known as functional group region. The bands that occurs in this region are due to stretching vibrations of the functional group in the molecule. So this is the main region where almost all the functional group absorbs the IR radiations, that is 4000 to 1300 centimeter inverse. This absorption due to the stretching vibrations of the functional group which are present into the molecule. So this region is from the stretching vibrations of the functional group. So this is giving information of the functional group. That's why this region, that is 4000 to 1300 centimeter inverse, is called as functional group region. The next region is the region between 2.7 to 11 micrometer, that is 1300 to 909 centimeter inverse. This is known as fingerprint region, and this is very complex, and it's a characteristic for the specific molecules. No two molecules having the same spectra in this region. The bonds that appears in these regions are due to skeleton vibrations, that is carbon-carbon single bond, carbon-oxygen single bond, carbon-nitrogen single bonds in the molecules. This region is very useful for the sample comparison. If the fingerprint region of the two samples are identical, then these two samples are also identical. No two compounds having the same spectra in this region. So that is the principle for the identification of the molecules. So this region is called as fingerprint region, that is 1300 to 909 centimeter inverse. This is because of skeleton vibrations. So all the molecules contain this carbon-carbon single bond, carbon-oxygen single bond, carbon-nitrogen single bond. So specifically it won't give you the functional group information present into the molecule, because almost all the molecules absorbs in this region. So this is used to compare the samples. If the two samples having the same spectra in this region, two molecules are same. Third region is the region between 11 to 16 micrometer, that is 909 to 625 centimeter inverse, and this is known as aromatic region. The bands that occurs in this region are due to the bending vibrations of the CH bonds in the aromatic ring. So that's why this region is called as aromatic region. So almost all the aromatic hydrogens that vibrate, bending vibrations, and that absorbs IR radiation in this region, that is 909 to 625 centimeter inverse. So this is the basic idea to identify the functional groups. So these are the three regions. We have to observe these three regions. The main region is the functional group region, that is 4000 to 1300 centimeter inverse. So you conclude that the molecule contains what are the functional group. You are getting the information from this region, that is which are the functional group present into the molecule. If your peak area is around 909 to 625, you conclude that your molecule contains either aromatic compounds. So likewise. Now we'll see the principles in spectroscopy. What are the principles which are used in IR spectroscopy? The atoms in the molecule can vibrate in number of ways. So the atoms in the molecules that are bounded to each other, those bonds are not rigid. Those bonds are not rigid. Those bonds are like a spring. So these bond lengths also contraction, relaxation, contraction, relaxations. These atoms vibrates along their own axis, also along their bonds. So continuous vibrations is going on, and each vibrations rears a definite amount of energy. That is, molecule has a number of vibrational energy levels, and which is quantized. So each vibration requires a particular amount of vibrational energy that is fixed. If the molecule exposed to the IR radiations and molecule absorbs the energy of the IR radiations and as a result get excited from higher vibrational level, excited to the higher vibrational energy level. The type of IR wavelengths absorbed by the molecules depends upon which type of atoms and which type of chemical bonds are present into the molecules. And when this absorption recorded, then we will get the IR spectrum. And according to the wavelengths absorbed by the molecules, that depends upon the which are the atoms, which are the chemical bonds, which are the functional group are present into the molecules. So according to the absorption, we are getting the information of these atoms and bonds. This is because these bonds are, this is because the molecule has a number of vibrational energy levels, but that is quantized. A particular bonds require a particular frequency or particular wavelength for the excitations to the higher energy level. That is the main principle, that we are getting the information by the absorption, information about the functional group, by which are the functional group, by which are the IR wavelengths are absorbed by the molecules. The IR spectrum consists of number of peaks, and each peak is due to particular vibrational excitations of the molecule. So in this spectrum we are getting a number of peaks. It's because there are so many vibrational excitations of the molecules. So many peaks you can get, and each peak is due to the particular vibrational excitations of the molecule. The position of the absorption peak can be specified in terms of frequency nu or wavelength lambda or a wavelength nu bar of the IR radiation absorbed. So whatever the absorption peak can be measured either in frequency or wavelength or wave number. The frequency, that is expressed in hertz. So if that absorption is measured in hertz, then that is frequency. Wavelength, that is lambda, that is expressed in micron, that is micrometer. 1 micron or 1 micrometer is equal to 10 raised to 6 meter or 10 raised to minus 4 centimeter. So this is the conversion. 1 micrometer or micron is equal to 10 raised to minus 6 meter or 10 raised to minus 4 centimeter. So that is 1 micron is equal to 10 raised to minus 6 meter is equal to 10 raised to minus 4 centimeter. So spectrum can be measured, or absorption radiations can be measured in terms of frequency or in terms of wave number. Third is wave number, that is nu bar, generally expressed as a number of waves in 1 centimeter. That is 1 upon lambda. So nu bar is a 1 upon lambda. Nu bar is inversely proportional to the wavelength. That is similar to the energy. Energy is also inversely proportional to the wavelength. Energy is directly proportional to the frequency. That's why frequency is also inversely proportional to the wavelength. A wavelength, that is 4 micrometer, corresponds to the wave number 2500 centimeter inverse, because nu bar is equal to 1 upon lambda. Lambda is given, that is 4 micrometer. So 1 upon 4 micrometer. So that micrometer is converted to the centimeter. So that 1 upon 4 into 10 raised to minus 4 centimeter inverse. So that comes 2500 centimeter inverse. The wave number is more convenient unit in case of IR spectroscopy. So in case of IR spectroscopy, this is the more convenient unit as compared to the wavelength. the energy of radiation is inversely proportional to the wavelength, but directly proportional to the wave number. So energy is directly proportional to the wave number but inversely proportional to the wavelength. That's why wave number is also inversely proportional to the wavelength. Since the frequency of vibration is also directly proportional to the energy, that's why energy is directly proportional to the frequency and directly proportional to the nu bar, that is wave number. This is the important thing. Organic chemist will use nu bar values, but it refers to as a frequency, because quantitatively this does not make any difference as they are directly proportional to the each other. So whatever the chemists which are studying this IR spectroscopy, so they are using this mu bar, that is wave number, as a frequency, because either wave number or wave or frequency that are directly proportional to the energy, directly proportional to the each other. So that does not make any difference. So in IR spectroscopy, the main unit is centimeter inverse, that is wave number, and that can be called as frequency also, no problem. Now we will see what are the types of vibrations. As we know that molecules contains so many bonds, and these bonds are not rigid. Those bonds are like two balls attached with a spring to each other. So those are getting vibrations. So horizontal vibrations, vertical vibrations, all the types of vibrations may happen into the molecules. So a molecule constantly vibrating in its bond stretching, contracts or bends with respect to each other. So these vibrations may be stretching vibrations and bending vibrations. The bond lengths may get contracted, may get relaxed. The bond angle also may get contracted, may get relaxed. So these are called as so many types of vibrations. The number of different ways in which molecule can vibrate is known as fundamental modes of vibrations. As molecule having so many types of vibrations, the number of different ways in which molecule can vibrate is known as fundamental modes of vibrations. And this number depends upon the total number of atoms present into the molecule and geometry of the molecule. So two factors decides the fundamental modes of vibrations. The two factors are the total number of atoms present into the molecule and what is the geometry of the molecule, either linear molecule or non-linear molecule. There are two types of vibrations into the molecule. Mainly there are two types of vibration into the molecule. First one is stretching vibrations and second one is a bending vibrations. We will learn one by one. First one is the stretching vibrations. So these are characterized by the change of the internuclear distance between two atoms increases or decreases, but atoms remains along the bond axis. During the stretching, the relative distance between the atoms in the bond will increase or decrease, but relative bond angle will not change. So in a stretching vibrations, just seen about GIF, in a stretching vibrations, bond length is contraction, relaxation, contraction, relaxation. So along the axis of the bond, these vibrations are along the axis of the bond. Bond length is changing, but bond angle will not get changed. Those type of vibrations are called as stretching vibrations. So stretching vibrations along the bond axis. Along the bond axis. Just bond length decreases, bond length increases, bond length decreases, bond length increases. So this type of vibrations are called as stretching vibrations. The stretching vibrations further divided into two classes, that is symmetrical stretching and asymmetrical stretching. So this stretching vibrations also two types, symmetrical and unsymmetrical. As we know that the compound contains carbon having 4 bonds. So these 4 bonds also shows a stretching vibration. So as compared to each other, these bonds either symmetrical stretching or unsymmetrical stretching. So see here, so stretching vibrations are divided into two classes, that is symmetrical stretching and unsymmetrical stretching. So this is symmetrical stretching. In the symmetrical stretching, all the bonds relax together and contracts together. So that is called as symmetrical stretching. So bond lengths of the bonds simultaneously get contracted and simultaneously get relaxed. So that is called as symmetrical stretching in this way. See, those two bonds simultaneously contraction, simultaneously relaxation, simultaneously bond length decreases, simultaneously bond length increases. So this type of vibrations or stretching vibrations are called as symmetrical stretching vibrations. Second one is unsymmetrical stretching vibrations. In this case, one of the big bond getting contracts while second bond will get relaxed. In second way, this second bond will get contract and first bond will get relaxed. So this is called as unsymmetrical. One bond relaxed, one bond stretched. One bond length decreases, second bond length increases. That is called as unsymmetrical or asymmetrical stretching vibrations. So in this way, see here, one of the bond getting relaxed, one of the bond getting contract. So this is unsymmetrical stretching vibrations. Second type of vibrations are bending vibrations. So in a bending vibrations, bond length will not going to change. Bond angle will get changed. That bond angle decreases, increases. Bond angle decreases, increases. So this type of vibrations are called as bending vibrations. In a stretching vibrations, bond angle will be same, only bond length are changing. While in bending vibrations, bond angle will change, bond length will be same. This is the difference between stretching vibrations and bending vibrations. So these bending vibrations also are of two types, that is inner plane vibrations and out of plane vibrations. While bending vibrations, two bonds remains in a one plane, then that is called as inner plane bending vibrations. And if while vibrations, if the plane of the vibrations changed, then that is called as out of plane bending vibrations. Now we'll see one by one. So for suppose inner plane vibrations. So inner plane vibrations also are of two types, that is scissoring and locking. Scissoring and locking. So in a scissoring, it's like a scissor. So two bonds simultaneously coming inside and simultaneously going outside, simultaneously coming inside and simultaneously going outside. So bond length will be same, bond angle, contraction and relaxation. But for that contraction and relaxation of the bond angle, two bonds simultaneously coming inside and simultaneously going outside. So that is like a scissor. So this is called as scissoring in this way. Simultaneously two bonds coming inside, outside, outside, inside. So in this way. So plane of these two bonds remains same. So this is called as in plane bending vibrations. Second is rocking. So it's like a rocking. While dancing, some people's like raising hands and moving left hand side and right hand side likewise. So in this way, what will happen? Both the bonds simultaneously moving on the one side and opposite side, one side and opposite side in this way. So like this, simultaneously both bonds are getting vibrated in one side and other side, left and right. So this is the difference between scissoring and rocking. While these vibrations, the plane will be same. Both vibrations occurs into the same plane. That's why these are called as in plane bending vibrations. Next type of bending vibrations are out of plane vibrations. So in this case, while vibration, plane of the molecule will get changed. They becomes out of plane. See here, those are also two types. One is twisting and second one is wagging. One is twisting, second one is wagging. So see in twisting, so these bonds vibrate, but simultaneously both bonds are coming towards the observer, going away from the observer, towards the observer, away from the observer. So whatever the plane of the molecule will get changed. Two bonds going below the plane, above the plane. So this type of vibrations, out of plane vibrations, are called as twisting. And second one is wagging. In wagging, what will happen? One of the bond going away from the observer, while second bond coming towards the observer, and this continues. Then another case, what will happen? Second bond goes away from the observer and first bond comes towards the observer. Likewise, this is called as wagging. So this is called as out of plane bending vibration. See here. So these two bonds going away from the observer and coming towards the observer simultaneously. Well, in this case, one is towards the observer while away from the observer. Alternate. See here. This is the difference between twisting and wagging. In twisting, both bonds simultaneously going, coming, while in wagging, one coming, one going, like that. So these are the types of molecular vibrations. Stretching vibrations and bending vibrations. Stretching classified into symmetrical and unsymmetrical, while bending classified into in plane, out of plane. In plane, scissoring and rocking, out of plane, twisting and wagging. The number of fundamental modes of vibrations for a molecule can be calculated from the number of atoms in the molecule. As earlier we have seen that the number of modes of vibrations, that is number of fundamental modes of vibrations, are depends upon the how many numbers of atoms present in the molecules and what is the geometry of the molecule. So if you know these both the things, we can calculate the fundamental modes of vibrations. The molecule containing n number of atoms will have 3n degrees of freedom. Depending upon the geometry of the molecule, the fundamental modes of vibrations are calculated as follows. So as we know that the number of fundamental modes of vibrations are depends upon the number of atoms which are present into the molecule and the geometry of the molecule. As we know the geometry and number of atoms, we can calculate the fundamental modes of vibrations. This is important formulas in most of the examinations. This calculate the fundamental modes of vibrations that questions ask. For a linear molecule, if the n is the number of atoms which are present into the molecule, there are 3n minus 5 possible fundamental modes of vibrations. So this is the formula for calculating the number of modes of vibrations in case of linear molecule. If the molecule is non-linear and containing a n number of atoms, then there are 3n minus 6 are possible fundamental modes of vibrations. So for linear molecule 3n minus 5 and for non-linear molecule 3n minus 6. Here n is a number of atoms which are present into the molecule. For example, see here, if molecule is NO, so how many total atoms? 2 atoms. This molecule is linear or non-linear? This molecule is linear and contain linear. So how to calculate? By using this formula 3n minus 5. So 3 into 2, 6. 6 minus 5, 1. So 1 fundamental modes of vibrations for the NO molecule. If molecule is CO2, carbon dioxide, the total number of atoms are 3, 2 oxygens and 1 carbon. So total number of atoms are 3. Molecule is linear. You should know the geometry of the molecule. That is the main thing, and then choose a right formula for that according to the geometry of the molecule. If the geometry is linear, then go for this formula 3n minus 5. So 3 into 3 minus 5, 9 minus 5, that is 4 fundamental modes of vibrations for the CO2 molecule. Then H2O. H2O molecule is non-linear molecule. H2O, 3 atoms are there. So non-linear molecules take a formula 3n minus 6. So 3 into 3, that is 9 minus 6 is equal to 3 fundamental modes of vibrations for water molecule. So you should able to calculate the fundamental modes of vibrations which are present into the molecule. For that purpose, you should know the structure of the molecule, either that is linear molecule or non-linear molecule. CH4. So CH4 is a non-linear molecule, as we know that is a tetrahedral structure. So total atoms are 5. So non-linear 3n minus 6. So n is 5. 15 minus 6, that is 9. Then benzene, as we know that the benzene is not a linear molecule. So total number of atoms in a benzene are 12. So non-linear molecule, 12 into 3, that is 36, 36 minus 6, 30. So 30 are the fundamental modes of vibrations in case of benzene molecule. Now we'll see the Hooke's law. The vibrational frequency of a bond may be related to the masses of vibrating atoms and the force constant of the vibrating bond. That is given by the equation that is called as Hooke's law. So vibrational frequency nu is equal to 1 upon 2 pi c under root f upon mu. F upon mu, where nu is equal to vibrational frequency in terms of centimeter inverse. C is the velocity of light, that is 3 into 10 raised to 10 centimeter per second. F is the force constant of the bond, that is in dyne per centimeter inverse. This is the depends upon the strength of bond. If the bond is stronger, then force constant will be higher. If bond is weaker, then force constant will be less. Nu is a reduced mass of atoms. Suppose there are two atoms forming a bond, a diatomic molecule. If one of the atom having a mass Ma and second atom is Mb, then the reduced mass of that atoms will be Ma into Mb divided by Ma plus Mb, where Ma is equal to mass of atom A and Mb is the mass of atom B. The frequency of the vibrations is directly proportional to the force constant. So according to the Hooke's law, as we know that this 2 pi and c are constant. C is the velocity of light, pi and 2, these values are constant. So what will happen? The frequency of the vibrational frequency is directly proportional to the force constant, that is bond energy. That is, stronger bond will have a higher frequency of vibration and weaker bond will have a lower frequency of vibration. Secondly, the vibrational frequency, that is nu, is inversely proportional to the reduced masses. Inversely proportional to the reduced masses. If reduced mass is less, then it will vibrate at higher frequency. If the reduced mass of the atoms is high, then the vibrational frequency will be less. So this law is important. This tells us which bond vibrates in which area, which bonds vibrates in which vibrational frequency, right? So vibrational frequency nu is directly proportional to the force constant and inversely proportional to the masses of atoms, that is reduced masses of atoms. Friends, now we'll see the applications of Hooke's law while calculating the IR frequencies. When one of the atom in a covalent bond is hydrogen, which has the lowest atomic weight, then OH, NH, CH, for these bonds the reduced mass becomes very small and hence the stretching frequency becomes high. As we know that the stretching frequency is inversely proportional to the reduced mass. If the reduced mass is less, small, then the stretching frequency will be high. Therefore, OH, NH and CH bonds have a higher stretching frequency in the range of 3000 to 3600 centimeter inverse. Is because reduced mass is higher. Suppose for example OH is the bond, then the reduced mass is equal to Ma into Mb divided by Ma plus Mb. Ma, suppose oxygen, that is reduced, mass of the oxygen is 16, so and hydrogen is 1. So 16 into 1 divided by 16 plus 1, if you calculate this one, you will get the answer 0.94. Similarly for NH, the mass of nitrogen is 14. So 14 and mass of hydrogen is 1. So reduced mass is equal to 14 into 1 divided by 14 plus 1. So that will become 0.93. Third one is CH. So CH, mass of the carbon is 12. So reduced mass will be 12 into 1, 12 plus divided by 12 plus 1. will be 0.92. So reduced mass is less and stretching frequency is inversely proportional to the reduced mass. So if reduced mass is less, stretching frequency will be higher. Now we will see the relation between force constant, frequency and bond length. As bond order increases, the force constant is also increases. That is, bond energy increases and hence frequency increases while bond length decreases. So in this case, as the bond order increases, means single bond, double bond, triple bond. So if bond order increases, the force constant is also increases, and as we know that the vibrational frequency is directly proportional to the force constant. So as the bond order increases, as the force constant increases, as the multiplicity of the bond increases, then the vibrational frequency is also increases. As we know that the strength of the bond depends upon the bond length. If the bond length is short, strength of the bond is high. Then as the bond length decreases, bond becomes more stronger. If bond becomes more stronger, force constant is high. If the force constant is high, then it absorbs at higher frequency. Thus, the bond between heavier atoms vibrates at lower frequency because reduced mass is high. So that is inversely proportional to the reduced mass, so it absorbs at lower frequency and vibrates at lower frequency. And stronger bond between the atoms vibrates at higher frequency because that is directly, vibrational frequency is directly proportional to the strength of bond. If the stronger bond, it vibrates at higher frequency. See this table. These are the three bonds: carbon-carbon single bond, carbon-carbon double bond, carbon-carbon triple bond. So as we know the bond length, single bond is 1.54 Armstrong unit, double bond is 1.34 Armstrong unit, and carbon-carbon triple bond is 1.2 Armstrong unit. So bond length is getting decreased. If bond length getting decreased, bond becomes more stronger. So double bond is more stronger than single bond, triple bond is more stronger than double as well as single bond. So these are the force constant according to the bond strength. So see this force constant, 5 into 10 raised to 5 dyne per centimeter for the single bond. Well, that will be high. For the double bond, that is 5 into 10 raised to 10 dyne per centimeter. And that will be higher as compared to this 2 in triple bond, that is 5 into 10 raised to 15 dyne per centimeter. So as we know that the vibrational frequency is directly proportional to the force constant, directly proportional to the strength of the bond, and inversely proportional to the bond length. So if the single bond is there, that absorbs near about 1100 centimeter inverse. If bond becomes stronger, then it absorbs at higher frequency, that is around, double bond stretching frequency is around 1650 centimeter inverse, while the vibrational frequency for carbon-carbon triple bond, that is more higher, it's around 2200 centimeter inverse. So in this way we can identify the general area for the single bond compound, for the double bond compound, for the triple bond compound. Single bonds absorbs near about 1100 centimeter inverse, double bond absorbs around 1640 or 50 centimeter inverse, and triple bond absorbs near about 2200 centimeter inverse. Now we will see the conditions for the absorption in IR region. Even though as we know that the molecule can vibrate in number of ways, that depends upon the how many types of atoms are there and what is the geometry of the molecule. But each molecule has having some atoms and some bonds and some geometry. So the molecule can vibrate in number of ways, and each and every vibration does not absorb radiations. Okay, there are so many fundamental modes of vibrations, but each and every vibration does not absorb radiations. the absorption of radiations takes place only if the following two conditions are fulfilled. Which are those conditions? When the frequency of vibration of the bond and frequency of the IR radiations used for the excitations match perfectly, then only the IR frequency will absorbed. That is, frequency of the vibration is equal to frequency of the IR radiation. If the frequency of vibration bond is equal to frequency of the IR radiations, both are matches, then only the vibration of the bond absorbs that particular frequency of the IR radiations, because this is fully quantized. If you are providing a smaller frequency of the radiations, it won't absorb. If you are increasing the frequency than required, then also it won't absorb. It is fully quantized. Frequency of the vibrations of the bond should be equal to the frequency of the IR radiations, then only absorption will take place. See here, these are the vibrating bond, vibrating atoms. The frequency, this is the frequency of the vibrational of the bond. If that perfectly matches with the frequency of the IR radiations, then only coupled will be formed and absorption of that particular radiations, particular frequency, particular wave number will take place. Otherwise, it won't take place. This is fully quantized. If provided IR frequency is higher, then also it won't absorb. It less, then also won't absorb. It should be perfectly matched. Then only absorption will take place. And according to this absorption, we will get the information which type of bond, which type of vibrations are taking place into the bonds. Second, only those vibrations which results in change in dipole moment of the molecule absorbs IR radiations. Such vibrations are said to be IR active. If there is no change in dipole moment, if the vibrations which does not change in dipole moment, which does not results in change in dipole moment, those vibrations are called as IR inactive. So there are two types of vibrations, IR active and IR inactive. If the change in dipole moment, then those vibrations are called as IR active and it absorbs radiations. But if there is no change in dipole moment of the molecule, then it won't absorb the radiations and those vibrations are called as IR inactive. For example, the symmetrical stretching of the carbon-carbon triple bond in acetylene molecule does not result in the change in dipole moment. So whatever the symmetrical stretching we have learned, that is simultaneously contraction of the bond, simultaneously relaxation of the bond. That is simultaneously bond length decreases, simultaneously bond length increases. If that vibration takes place in a symmetrical molecule, then there is no change in dipole moment. So even though those vibrations are there, stretching vibrations are there, but those vibrations are IR inactive because there is no change in dipole moment, and hence those vibrations are called as IR inactive, and these IR inactive vibrations does not absorbs in IR region. That's why such vibrations are said to be IR inactive. So these are the conditions for the absorption of IR region. First reason is frequency of vibration of the bond must be equal to the frequency of IR radiation, and second, there should be change in dipole moment of the molecule, then only the absorption of the IR radiations will take place by the vibrations of the bonds. So these are the principles for the IR spectroscopy. Thank you friends.